This conference will now be recorded.
I call to order the continuation of the Kernersville Planning Board meeting from June the 8th. First, I'd like to do a roll call vote. If I call your name, just say present, please. Margaret Burks.
Present.
Diane Byers.
Present.
Luann Davis.
Present.
Jim Frettenberg.
Present.
Steve Hutchins.
Present.
Tom McDaniels.
Present.
Nathan Meyer.
Present.
Chris Oatman. Joe Orenstein.
Present.
And Jim Waddell present. Okay, so we have one member that may join us as we go through. Before we get into the cases today, I'd like to make a statement to hopefully clarify some roles of the planning board and each of your responsibilities and mine. First of all, I'd like to add my voice to the thanking the board, the planning and IT staff, and everyone who participated in Monday's meeting. It's a unique time, and with everyone's cooperation, we'll be able to continue to do the people's work. Now, board members, I'd like to ask that you remember back to the training that we did from the Institute of Government concerning the role of the planning board members. Several items were discussed, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's a few of them that I'd like to highlight, if you would. First of all, our responsibility is the rezoning of the land. We should determine if the design presented is correct for the piece of property, and does it conform to the town land use plan and area plannings and the UDO. Second, in making our decision on what to recommend to the Board of Aldermen, we should rely upon the facts of the case as presented by the staff, the petitioner, and the public at large. We should not consider non-factual ideas about the case when determining the final recommendation to the Board of Aldermen. Areas such as property values, who may occupy the property, although legitimate concerns are not really factually based information, should not be used to generate the recommendation to the Board of Aldermen. Now, a lot of discussion was held at our meeting on Monday night concerning connectivity, specifically connecting Street A to Emperor Lane. Now, Kernersville has adopted the UDO statement, which was contained in the staff report on page 8 of the staff report for that case. And it specifically states, except as provided for herein, all subdivisions shall be designed to utilize interconnecting streets for a consistent development pattern within the town. The Board of Aldermen may provide for exemption from this requirement only. In all cases of exemption from the interconnecting streets requirement, the Board of Aldermen shall make findings of fact commensurate with the approval of the exemption. So again, it has to be factually based. This is just like our decision. One of the areas that was also discussed was traffic improvements on Shields Road and whether we should wait to do the development until the traffic improvements were made. All we can do as a board is make recommendations to the outside agencies like DOT where we think there are improvements needed. We have no control over when those would occur. The timing and funding of any off-property improvements are up to that outside agency, the DOT or whoever, which means that if we were to do that, this project may be held up for 4 or 5 years once the funding is done, which I don't think is fair to the petitioner at all. So that's just, I just want to remind everybody of some of those things that we've all talked about when we went through that Institute of Government training. Our first case tonight is the continuation and consideration of case number 762-A1, which is Greg Garrett, agent for the owner. Petitioner is requesting a single-phase special use district zoning from agricultural to RS12 SPRD, residential single-family plan residential development, special use district for property located near the southwest terminus of Teague Lane at Watkins Ford Road, being all of PIN number 6873-57-5501, containing 12.44 plus or minus acres. Requested uses is residential single-family PRD, plan residential development. What's the pleasure of the board?
Jim,
Yes, Tom?
I'll make a motion that we approve as submitted by the staff.
I'll second that motion. This is Joe Ornstein.
Who second? I'm sorry.
Joe Ornstein seconding.
Oh, Joe. Okay, Joe. So we have a motion for approval as presented by staff in a second. Any further discussion from the board? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. If you'll say for or against. Margaret Burks,
For.
Diane Byers,
For.
Luann Davis,
Mike,
Luann Davis,
For.
thank you. Jim Fruttenberg,
for.
Steve Hutchins, Steve Hutchins. Did we lose Steve?
For.
Tom McDaniel,
For.
Nathan Meyer,
For.
Joe Ornstein,
4.
and Jim Waddell 4. So motion carries unanimously. Next item on our agenda is the rezoning. Bill Greco for Land Solutions of North Carolina, agent for owner. Petitioner requests a single-phase special use district rezoning from RS20 residential single family to RS12S PRD residential single family planned residential development special use district. Property located near the intersection of Shields Road at Union Cross Road, being a part of PIN number 6885-06-8134, containing 39 plus or minus acres. Requested use, residential single family PRD, planned residential development, and the zoning docket K781. What's the pleasure of the board?
Jim, it's Tom McDaniel.
Oh, Tom.
Can you clarify, can you let the public, because I'm sure there's other people listening to this, let the public or make them have them understand that basically the developer as it currently stands can build, what is it, 92 homes? So basically we're talking about an additional 28 homes. You or Jeff, can one of you kind of talk about that a little bit?
We can if you'd like to. Yeah, I mean, currently with the current zoning of RS20, he could build 90, I think it's 91, you're correct, homes. He still have to come back through the planning board and the board of aldermen, but yes, he still could do that. So by coming through and requesting 117 is why he has to go through the PRD and those kinds of things.
Yes, for the 91 lots, which would be similar to Fieldcrest. Fieldcrest is RS20 PRD, 1.98 units per acre. If this tract came back in and followed the Fieldcrest, it would be 91 versus 117. As stated in the staff report, the land use plan does allow up to 3 units per acre if it conforms to the density of the surrounding area. Adjacent to Fieldcrest is 1.98, but the surrounding area is a mix of density, some attached units and detached units. So it's a conformance to the land use plan.
Thank you.
Any further discussions or questions from the board?
Jim, this is Steve.
Yes, Steve, go ahead.
Based on our responsibilities as a planning board and your discussion in the beginning of this meeting, I would make a motion to approve the rezoning. I just don't feel that I can vote against it based on our responsibility as a planning board member.
Okay, we have a motion for approval as presented. Is there a
I
second?
second it. This is Nathan Meyer. I second it.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. We'll go through a roll call vote. Again, in favor or against, please. Margaret Burks,
For.
Diane Byers,
Against.
Luann Davis,
I'm going to vote against.
Jim Frattenberg,
Against.
Steve Hutchins,
Or
Tom McDaniel,
4,
Nathan Meyer,
For.
Joe Ornstein,
4,
Jim Waddell is 4.
And Jim, regarding the conditions, staff recommended the conditions in the staff report with the one additional condition of modification of the street network with the developer supported. So if we could get a motion on the site planning conditions as staff presented by staff.
Yeah, just the addition, right? Because this
Well,
motion,
yeah, just for clarification, we just did the rezoning. Now, the planning board should give a recommendation on conditions. So currently, staff conditions and staff report with the addition of the new street network. So this is just regarding conditions. If you feel that we need additional conditions or the conditions, if passed by the Board of Aldermen, would be adequate.
okay. So the motion, first, the motion for rezoning passed 6-4 and 4 against. Now, for the conditions, if you remember, we had an additional condition. Jeff, you want to go over the additional one?
Yeah, so we had the list of condition. The new condition was the street connection between Shields Road and Emperor Lane shall be redesigned to follow a similar alignment as shown below. And there was an illustration of a very serpentine street network to prevent that area to be attractive for any cut through traffic. So staff is recommending that additional condition.
And that condition is also that the gate will still be there, right?
Yes, and the gate would remain until such time the Union Cross and Shields Road intersection improvements are made.
Okay. Does everybody understand?
Well, why is it going to be there all the time so that the two neighborhoods can interchange without going out on Shields Road?
You're saying, why is the gate going to be there?
Yes, why not have that permanently, that you can go from one development to another?
Well, I mean, that's a possibility if that's what the board wants to do, make that recommendation. The purpose was to wait till the changes to Shields Road were done. But if the board wants to recommend to the Board of Aldermen that the gate be removed from it, and we just have the serpentine configuration of the road.
I think we've run into this before about not having connectivity from one neighborhood to another. And we have tried to correct it.
Yes. So you want to make a motion, Margaret?
Yes, I move that street be open permanently.
Okay. And with the new serpentine design?
Yep.
So the motion is that we recommend that the street be redesigned in a serpentine motion, but there would be no gate with a lock across it for emergency vehicles. Is there a second?
Jim, this is Tom McDaniel. I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. We'll go through the roll call again. Say in favor or against, please. Margaret Burks,
All.
Diane Byers,
I'm gonna say against.
Luann Davis,
I'm against.
Jim Frattenberg,
Against.
Steve Hutchins,
Against.
Tom McDaniels,
Or,
Nathan Meyer,
For.
Joe Ornstein,
Against.
Jim Waddell's for. So the motion is defeated 5-4, 5 against and 4 in favor.
So be it.
So any other motions?
Jim, Steve Hutchins,
Yes, Steve.
would we require a new motion to maintain the gate until further improvements are done?
Well, we need a motion that has the new design of the road, the serpentine, and has the gate there.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion for the redesign of the connectivity road to be the serpentine as presented by staff with a gate that would be locked except for emergency vehicles until such time as the road improvements are done to Shields Road. Is there a second? Question?
Joe, oh, good. I will second that motion, Joe Ornstein.
Okay, Joe Ornstein seconds. Any discussion from the board or question? Everybody understand what we're voting on? Okay, Margaret Burks,
Oh, yes, I'll go for it.
Diane Byers,
I vote yes.
Luann Davis,
I vote for.
Jim Frattenberg,
For.
Steve Hutchins,
Four.
Tom McDaniels,
or,
Nathan Meyer,
For.
4,
Yes.
Joe Ornstein,
4.
4, and Jim Waddell, 4, makes a unanimous decision. Okay, so does anybody have any other business need to be brought before the board? Okay, thank you. We stand adjourned.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
All right, good night.
Good night.